United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty and everlasting God, who presides over all things in heaven and earth, come and preside over these deliberations so that those who make the decisions may be guided by your wisdom.
Thank you, Tony. Good evening and welcome to the City Council work session of September 10th, 2024. Welcome, everyone. We have quite a few people with us tonight, quite a few guests, and it's nice to see. And this is the part of our schedule where we review the agenda with the mayor. The mayor has quite a lengthy agenda here, and give you the opportunity to answer any questions that council may have in regard to the specific resolutions. Mayor, good evening.
Good evening.
All yours.
How are you?
I'm well. Yourself, sir?
Everybody gets a chance to supper before you have.
Wait for you to buy dinner later.
Hi, Steve. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our council meeting. Now, folks, if you don't mind, I'm going to read the resolutions, but there are people here from each of the groups that are requesting your monies, or your approval, I should say, for our monies. And if you'd like, then you could ask questions of those folks, but I'll just read the resolution. Is that okay, Bill?
One at a time and give council.
One at a time?
Right. Yes, please.
Yeah.
So we don't lose track of where we are.
All right. First of all, first resolution designating Mayor Brown, Controller Tony Thomas, as the officials to execute documents between the city and Commonwealth Financing Agency to assist in obtaining a local LSA share grant for $250,000. Any and all other project documents related to Moving River Ministries on the former Planters Peanuts building restoration project. Now, is Reverend McGay here? Reverend McGay, he's not here, but I believe I can answer for him if you have any questions.
Council?
I wish Reverend McGahee was here. I just wanted to thank him and his team for restoring Planters Peanuts, for saving Planters Peanuts, since it's such an icon of Wilkes-Barre and our heritage, and I just wanted to thank him for that. So thank you.
Yeah, he's going to bring that building back to life. It's going to be utilized as a youth ministry, teaching children how to play different instruments. But the nicest thing is it's going to promote diversity between the children in the city of Wilkes-Barre. So it's really going to be a great project. A lot of work has to be done. Tony, I think you and I took a tour, and there's an awful lot of work. This is just the first part of that. Okay? Bill, let me know when you want me to go on. Or
That's good. You're good.
Okay?
Mayor, is that going to turn into a museum or anything like that?
No. Councilman, that's going to be a facility once roof is done, the back part is done, where it'll be a ministry where children can come and learn how to use musical instruments, put on plays and other things.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be like a nice place for a musical ministry type thing where children can come in, learn how to use the different musical equipment, and then also, put on plays and other things like that. So it's really community oriented for that building. It's a good use for that.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Hi. Okay, since we're okay with Reverend McGahee's plan, okay. Secondly, the next one is to authorize the authority Commonwealth to facilitate assisted obtaining local share assessment for $437,000 to be used for the City of Wilkes-Barre Police Department's vehicle purchase project. Purchase 5 new 2025 all-wheel drive police support. Now, I can answer this one unless we need more police cars for this gentleman right here. The other 81 officers. Anyway, yes, we did purchase 10 vehicles about 2.5 years ago. Bill, as a former police chief, you know the amount of mileage you put on them, and they're just being worn out. So I'm hoping to get approval to pass this on as an LSA application to buy 5 more police vehicles.
Any questions from council?
No.
Comments? Okay, thank you, man.
Also, The next one is to facilitate and assist in obtaining a local share assessment grant in the amount of $76,523 to be used for the City of Wilkes-Barre's Fire Department Emergency Medical Services Monitor Defibrillator Project. Any questions on that? What we're using now, they're actually outdated, and we have to update it, the new one, so that's what that's about. I think that's pretty clear.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. The next one is obtaining a local share assessment grant in the amount of $131,000 to be used for United NEPA Alliance Welcome Home Affordable Housing Project. I believe we have Mary Ann Velez.
No, he missed one.
Would you like to, do you have any questions for Mary Ann?
You missed one?
Missed one, Mayor.
Yeah, you missed
Okay,
one.
you skipped that one. You can backtrack when,
Yeah.
The cheese factory, or?
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm ready to answer any and all questions you may have about our project. I believe I sent an email prior to tonight's meeting with an explanation as to why we are asking the city to support our
I got a
LSA.
signal that said louder.
Oh. I have to take his cue because he's been trying to teach me to speak loud for 3 years now. But I did send an email out to council prior to tonight's meeting with the full explanation as to why we are asking for the city's support for this LSA grant. I have here with us tonight Mrs. Santiago and her family will be moving into this new home located in the city of Wilkes-Barre with her beautiful, how old is she now?
6, she'll be 7 next month.
6 years old. Her daughter has quite a history. She has cerebral palsy. The dwelling that they're living in now is unsafe, not only for Skylar, but for mom and dad. It is a 2-story dwelling that is not ADA accessible. They have a difficult time maneuvering the child in her wheelchair, getting her up and down the stairs to bathe her and properly care for her. The dwelling that we are constructing for this beautiful family is a 1-story ADA compliant home with an open floor plan that will provide ease of access not only for Skylar, but for mom and dad to properly care for her. This is just a pilot program. This is the first house that United NEPA Alliance is looking to implement within not only the city of Wilkes-Barre, but throughout Luzerne County. When I pulled my data last year in 2023, it showed 1 in 5 families in Luzerne County, middle-of-the-road working families, were going to be displaced by 2025. In the last week and a half, I had to find housing for 5 families because they could no longer afford the units that they were living in, rental units that they were living in. We just had CYS come and pick up 6 children this morning because their families cannot find affordable rentals. What we are offering not only the city of Wilkes-Barre, but Luzerne County is a proactive measure that offers hardworking residents the opportunity to apply, attain, and remain in those affordable housing units that we plan to implement straight through our county. There is not one working family in this county that should have to look at their children knowing that they cannot properly provide for them. We all here are extremely fortunate. We do not face those situations that many of the families that live here currently face. They don't have enough money for rent, food, utilities, or clothing. Their only choice are the support services that the communities offer them. If they make too much, they can't go to CEO. CEO will not help them. If they make too much, they cannot get government assistance. There's no SNAP program. There's no financial programs for them. They make too much money. Dollars, I'm speaking of, not hundreds. Some of these families are coming over $10, $20 of the poverty line and refused assistance. With our affordable housing program, we are offering these families an opportunity to become educated, to elevate themselves out of the situations that they're currently in, and to empower not only mom and dad, but their children. Their children want to remain in this area knowing that there are resources and a promise of tomorrow. Let's give them that promise. Let's continue working toward building thriving communities for every family. They're here, they're contributing, they pay their taxes, they are hardworking people, and they just want to be able to provide a way of life for their families, and that is what we're offering them. That is what we are offering the Santiago family, and we are humbly asking for your support. Thank you.
Do we have a location for this home, Marion?
Yes, we do. 43 Monroe Street. There were two separate lots that were deeded out to us, donated by Mayor Brown and the city. We deeded them into one lot so we could build an affordable home there.
Mary Ann, that's on Monroe Street, that's in my districts in South Wilkes-Barre. Welcome aboard, ma'am. I'm welcome to have a new voter.
Well, it depends, Mike, it depends.
Well, yeah, I vote for it.
Say yes, yeah.
So I do just have one quick question. Are you selling the home to them? Are you giving them the home? What is?
So how this works is they come into the program. They enter an entire life coaching program that offers them opportunities that may not have been afforded to them in the past. If they're looking for additional educational training, if they're looking to advance their careers. One of the requirements is financial literacy. We want to make sure that they're prepared for anything that life throws at them. So we set them up for success in every facet of their life. If mom and dad can properly function and properly maneuver through their lives, they will pass those skills on down to their children, and they will become pillars of society as they move forward.
So I guess you still didn't answer. They buy the home or do you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
So
okay.
they are coming in, renting first. During that rental period, we will be holding escrow accounts. They put a percentage of their net income into an escrow. We're putting a percentage of their rent into an escrow. When they complete their program, they will then have a down payment for that home, along with a nest egg for you never know what's going to happen in that first year of homeownership. And we want to make sure that they are fully prepared for anything that life throws at them. Maybe mom and dad get laid off the first year and they're in that home. It happens. Now they have a little nest egg to kind of fall back on for security, knowing that they're going to be able to remain in that home. What happens if mom and dad are laid off? They come back to us and we support them in every facet we possibly can. We have implemented a 3-strike program because we feel we are a hand up, not a handout. So we will work with you 3 different occasions, whatever life is throwing at you, long after you purchase that home, to give you every opportunity to get back on track. If by the 3rd time we see there is no willingness on mom and dad's part, and I know that will not be the case with the Santiago family, but there are situations where that happens, and I basically begged people, please do not make me evict you. That defeats the whole purpose of this program. We want to see you succeed in life. So with every advantage we are giving them, with every support system we have put in place, and with every community organization that has come together to offer these services, there is no reason that we should need to utilize that 3-strike program.
Okay, so you are selling them the home then?
We are going to sell them the
Is
home
that
some
at
point.
market value? Is that at what it cost you?
It's going to be at what cost us to build.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because it's going to cost you $131,000. You're going to get an LSA, if you get an LSA grant for the $131, it would cost you nothing. So
Not necessarily. The 131 is how we're kicking this project off.
Okay.
Okay, this is for the foundation, this is to get the utility lines in, this is start to prep the site. We have been working with 2 developers, along with Dave Ballant from Ballant Construction, who is coming in and donating materials and labor. So at the end of this project, when we look at the overall cost, if this house cost us $200,000 to build, that is what we are selling them the house for at $200,000. And then it comes back onto the tax roll, so the city can start to regain that revenue, school taxes will be paid, and you will have a new family to welcome within the city.
So that just brings me to another question. So while it's in your name, you are a nonprofit, it's not on the tax roll. What is the estimated time frame that it does get back on the tax roll?
Within a year, we would like to see the house being given back over to them within a year's time. We don't want to hold on to these homes. Our purpose is to make sure that the residents of Luzerne County and the city of Wilkes-Barre can put their heads down at bed at night with pride, with hope, with a little bit of dignity. Home ownership brings that. It gives people a sense of accomplishment. Look at what I have accomplished, not only for me, but for my family. Children have stability. They have a backyard to play in. Mom and dad could sit on the porch and watch their kids play and frolic in the snow, and maybe little Johnny wanted a dog and they couldn't get it inside of an apartment. These are things that we want to offer to the families that live here in Luzerne County.
I'm good.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions, council?
Mrs. Santiago, you're in good hands. You are. Mary Ann, I wish you could do this about 100 more times.
We are going to do this 100 more times. Yes.
So needed. So needed.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Belisco?
Great idea.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
this is a two-bedroom home, right?
This is going to be a three-bedroom home.
Oh, good, okay.
Yes, Mrs. Santiago, her mother does live with them to provide additional support services for when they're both at work.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mayor, I think we skipped over one if you wanted to go back.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that, Bill.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're referring to the fire department, right?
No, right below
No.
that.
Cheese.
Cheese building renovation.
Moopy Sean's,
Starts
I
on the
can't
bottom
say
and then
it.
it goes to the top, yeah.
Okay.
Fourth one down.
I think Shopee Sean's here.
I got you.
There he is.
I got you. Hey, how you doing, my friend?
that's his.
Okay, stay here. All right, authorizing, obtaining a local share account to grant an amount of $43,764 to be used for the, and by the way, fantastic cheese.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. The Shopee Sean's Smoked Cheese Building Renovation. So, the owner is here right now if you have any questions, and by the way, you're not wearing your hat.
No, but I could have if you'd told me.
Beautiful snappy hat. But go ahead. Any questions?
Questions, council?
I just,
Go ahead.
so it says renovations, is that you're expanding or you're renovating what you currently have?
I'm renovating what I currently have. I ran out of money. I put about $250,000 into it. And I still need the front room, which was the bar area, done. I need new floors, walls, ceilings, wiring.
And this is 311 Blackman? 'Cause-
Correct.
Yeah, just clarify it, it used to be a bar. When he said the bar area, he doesn't
Yeah.
have a bar.
It was an eyesore that no longer looks.
Yeah, I know which one, but the address, so I just want to make sure, 311 Blackman.
Are you currently in business now, or
Oh, I am.
You are, okay. Out of that facility,
Correct.
that building?
Now, will this 43,000, will that complete your project? It'll be up
It'll do the front
100%?
I still have more stuff to do, but that'll get me going. I'm hoping to get an office area where I can keep my books and maybe expand the store area.
Okay.
Questions?
Sean, did you bring any cheese in for us?
I did not, but I can.
Only if you bring your...
You gotta think, pal.
Yeah. Right?
John, that might have helped a little bit.
Well, I'll bring the hat with me the next time.
Any other questions?
No.
Nope.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one, obtaining a local share account $600,000 will be used by King's College, safety and security project. Any questions, Jim?
Yep. Come on up, Art.
Afternoon, folks. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come before you and answer any questions you may have about what we're asking for insofar as support for the project. Happy to do so.
So
Your
what,
name for the record, sir?
Yes, Tom Butchko. I am Associate Vice President of Facilities at King's College.
And maybe a synopsis of the program?
Sure, yes. So the college is embarking on improvements around campus, and one of them that is a big focus for us is safety and security of the campus for our students and the neighbors and everyone that has in the community around us. It's going to focus on 4 different areas. One is lighting improvements around the perimeter edges of campus. Another one is having emergency blue lights, call lights spread throughout campus in a few different locations where it's a place that folks can go to, pick up the phone, call, and get immediate assistance. We also would like to make some improvements to our security camera system around campus. Our security cameras are monitored 7 days a week, 24 hours a day by our switchboard and security. And it's also provided recorded video, which in many occasions has been used by Wilkes-Barre City Police Department for investigation, follow-up, and other incidents as well that happen in and around the campus area. And then also emergency radios that allow us for two-way communication between ourselves, our security folks, our facilities folks, and other people within the area. We have 50 folks in our facilities department who depend on that kind of communication, 20 plus in the security as well. So it's a an important tool that we use to keep everyone safe and be able to communicate across the board with folks. So.
Questions?
Wonderful. Good.
And Jim? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, folks.
Moving on a lot quicker than I thought we were going to here. Okay. Attending a local share assessment grant, the amount of $500,000 to be used for general construction modification related to the minarets, the Iron Temple building. Someone here from Iron Temple. Christian?
Evening.
I'm Dale Parmentary, Secretary and Treasurer of the Iron Temple Restoration Project. I'm here with Christian Weilage, our Chairman of the Board, Ken O'Krepke, a board member, and Nick Dye from D&D Realty. He is serving as a consultant, unpaid consultant, as we're all volunteers right now. The request that we're making specifically right now, the $500,000 LSA grant to the Iron Temple Restoration Project, combined with $2 million in RACP funds and the 2023 $300,000 LSA award that we received, will allow us to complete the restoration of the entire envelope of the building and install an elevator, windows, and cover a portion of the A&E services that are required for the drawings that we've been getting. This will prevent any further weather-related wear to the building and allow us to move forward with the restoration of the interior. The specific use of this $500,000 is to focus on one of the 4 minarets, which is the one that was identified by our engineers as in the most need of restoration. And the specifics, there's $46,000 for the infrastructure shoring up the underground vaults that are on both sides of the building, and $117,875 for masonry, and $207,000 for general trade constructions at the minaret balcony. And the remaining $129,125 will be used towards whatever scaffolding or lift solution as comes out of the bidding process.
Questions?
I just have a question. You probably know this answer. What is the proposed use of the Iron Temple when it's done?
It's going to have dual use. We're restoring it to its original open floor format, which there is no open floor format venue in the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area. The closest one is Penn's Peak and Jim's Thorpe. Having an open floor format, we've had some consultants help us that are in the industry. One of them, Will Beekman, has given us some advice on our projections, and he said that about 40% of the bands that would come to Wilkes-Barre do not come here because there is no open floor venue, and that is bands that are more aimed towards the younger crowds, under 50 crowd, and we feel that it's very complementary to the Kirby Center that already exists here because it's a completely different format. We could actually see both venues being open on the same night, which we think would be great for foot traffic downtown.
That'd be great.
The other use is going to be a regional heritage museum. focusing on the American Revolution and the Industrial Revolutions, but specifically our local history with a high-tech, working with a local company called VisVibe. We're trying to do, our architect is Kira Kinsman. We're trying to use as many local vendors as possible. And the whole idea of this is to restore daytime and downtown foot traffic that's been lost during the pandemic.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll have to make a comment. I just express gratitude, an extreme amount of gratitude and thanks to the Shriners who built this building in 1907, to the Chamber of Commerce who saved it for the last 15 years, and to Christian, you, Ken, for saving it yet again. It is the only building in all of America like it, and we should be so unbelievably proud that we have this gem of an architectural building that could attract people and bring new life into downtown. So I just want to really thank you for saving this building.
And we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Good question.
Chairman, if I may.
Let's go.
Dale, I know at one point I had asked you, you came in front of us for money for something along these lines. How close are you to that point? I know you went to county, I believe you went to the county. You came to the city, you went to county. And now with this, what, 600,000? No, 500,000. How close will you be to opening, if you will?
What this does for us now, we will have enough match to use both RACPs and move forward. Now, a lot of it comes down to our interim financing. We're meeting with the bank on Monday, Wayne Bank, and depending on how that goes, whether we can use both RACPs or only start with the first RACP and this LSA, it's still a little bit up in the air based on the financing that we can get. But if we are able to leverage both RACPs, we expect the envelope of the building to be done by spring or summer of next year, and then focus on the interior, which we would hope that, and that's more of a question for Nick, but we would hope that the interior would go a lot quicker than the exterior has, so it's potentially, if everything falls into place, that this building could be finished at the end of next year.
I believe the last time you were here, you were trying to get the building watertight. You had a roof leakage.
All new.
As of, we've had some.
And that was off a lot of money, yeah.
Now, that was just under about 900,000. Thankfully, we had an ARPA grant from the Luzerne County that was able to cover more than half of it, and we did use some LSA monies from the past on that as well, so that helped us complete that. So the roof is watertight now. They're finishing the roof by next Friday. And that includes the little roofs that are on the minarets as well. So we are starting to actually address the minarets, and that's the next step of the process. And we're here talking today about one minaret that's been identified as being, and the one that needs the most, it needs to be addressed first, and that's, so we feel, but if we're successful getting this combined with the other two RACPs, we could get to that time frame that we just mentioned.
I wish you luck, bud.
Thank you. We're giving it our best.
Great project. Anything else, Council?
And we do really appreciate the support that the city and the county and the state has given us so far for this project.
I don't know how long the next one's going to take.
Mayor, we have to take a very short break because we have to open the 6 o'clock session because it was advertised as such. But we're going to allow you to continue
And
on.
then you'll continue.
Just 3 minutes. Continue on where we left off.
We're going to adjourn the work session and open the regular session.
And we'll continue this during the
we'll
Yes, sir.
continue
the regular
the
session.
session.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
Chairman,
That's the way it was advertised.
Mr. Chairman, are we going to allow people that want to speak, fill that out now?
I'm going to tell them,
I think Sam's here, and I saw John.
We got them for him.
We
Oh,
have-
you got one?
if anyone here, aside from the presenters in regard to the LSA applications, wishes to speak to council about an unrelated matter, I see Mr. Sahosky has one. We need to have one of these forms before 6 o'clock filled out. It doesn't include anyone who was here for the LSA applications.
Right. It's anybody outside of it.
It's just general topics of the city.
Okay. We'll take a little short
Start.
minute or two. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Don't go away. Don't go anywhere.
I'm not even getting up.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty and everlasting God, who presides over everything in heaven and earth, come and preside over these deliberations so that those who make the decisions may be guided by your wisdom.
Okay. We're going to do a real quick roll call, please.
Mr. Belushko?
Here.
Mrs. McClay?
Here.
Mr. Mirren?
Here.
Mr. Brooks?
Here.
Mr. Barrett?
Here.
Also in attendance is Mayor George Brown, Controller Tony Thomas, Administrator Charles McCormick, Assistant City Attorney Maureen Collins, Assistant City Clerk Tracy Smith, Administrative Assistant Lisa Sanfilippo. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's regular session of council. Please turn off all cell phones. Following are examples of some important council rules. They are not intended to be a complete list. Please adhere as closely as possible to the 5-minute speaker presentation time limit. No persons are allowed to address the council from beyond the rail except the speaker at the dais who has the floor. Chairperson shall preserve order and decorum and prevent attacks on personalities. Chairperson shall determine all points of order. No person except city officers or their representatives shall be permitted within the rail during any meeting without the express permission of council. Council kindly asks that the public please vacate the building within 10 minutes after the meeting adjourns. And finally, when members of the administration are speaking, please stand up and use the microphone.
Okay. Mayor, sorry for the interruption, but we can resume.
First,
Thank you.
Council, I'd like to let you know that Reverend McGahey was here. He came late, and he was outside. And so he did want to speak, but we explained that. I think we answered all of your questions, if I'm not mistaken.
Anyone have any?
Okay, but
Oh, Father.
I know, Mr. Brooks, I think you're saying you wish he was here, but he did show up, but he was outside, just so you know that, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen him.
All right, as we continue, obtaining a local share assessment grant in the amount of $500,000 to be used for RC Theater's seating renovation project.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking a look at our submission. I'm happy to answer any questions that I possibly can. I'm sure you're all very familiar with RC Theaters located on Northampton Street and the investment that was made nearly 20 years ago to house the theater in that property. We've owned the property. I'm Liana Kissinger, the Chief Operating Officer of City Center. I should have started with that, sorry. So we've owned the property for a little over 10 years, and the theater's lease is coming up for expiration. And if any of you have visited the theater in the last handful of years, I'm sure you've noticed it's outdated, and its competition in the market has taken some of its share of attendance. So we've been looking at many avenues of ways to, the biggest improvement it needs is the conversion to recliners. Everybody expects their movie going to be an experience nowadays, not just a sitting down to watch a film. There's other things we could do there too, but that does seem to be what across the industry has the biggest impact in returning that attendance to downtown so that we get back to those 200, 300,000 people that are not only supporting the theater, but also the other neighboring businesses, bringing good traffic back downtown. So the project is obviously much more than a $500,000 project, or about a $1.3 million project just for the conversion to the recliners. We're all vested in this project. RC Theaters would be making an investment. City Center would be making an investment to accomplish the project, help retain the jobs of the people who there, that are about 38 folks are employed there between part-time and full-time staff to the theater throughout the year. And I'm sure there's plenty of other benefits, but I don't want to ramble on too long. So what questions could I answer regarding our project?
That'd be me. So I saw in the paper that it's a $1.3 million project. I also saw this week, or maybe last week, that you got $311,738. Plus, this $500,000, who would be contributing the rest of it? Would we be applying for other LSAs, other grants?
So the goal we did apply for a RACP, which there was no award, and the $311,000 is a tax credit rather than a grant per se. So it won't be $311 to the project. There's some things that come out of that, and then whatever balance is left would be shared between RC Theaters and City Center. They would be making the other capital investments to accomplish the project.
What's the total seating capacity altogether?
That's a good question. I want to say it's about between 1,500 and 1,600 right now. When you convert to the recliners, you lose some of the seating because, of course, you need the foot area for the, so this would be replacing the existing seating with 802 recliners, and they'll only be recliners from what they call the cross aisle back. So all of the flat seating, like where the floor is level to the screen, that will remain the stationary seating, and the recliners would be on the stadium style seating.
Any other questions?
What was pre-COVID attendance, and what's your attendance now?
So the attendance pre-COVID was still around 100, between 150 and 170,000 a year. If you go back years before that, it was closer to 400,000. But some of the numbers we've seen from both the industry and RC across their other locations is that the industry as a whole has, as of 2022, seen a rebound to about 70% of pre-COVID attendance, and RC theaters as of last year had seen about a return to 80% of pre-COVID numbers. Unfortunately, Wilkes-Barre is in a 42 to 44% return from pre-COVID numbers, and we see that we believe that that's substantially because of the lack of recliners and the ease of getting to them without having to drive too awful far to competition.
Would you be closing, or would this be something that it's open while you're?
We would stay open, and it would be done in a staggered fashion, 3-4 theaters at a time.
How many years are you there now?
RC Theaters,
Yeah.
that's an operation, they opened in 2006.
2006.
Yep, so
Wow.
just about to
Jesus.
now.
So the
Right?
trees were planted.
Where'd that time go?
I know.
Other questions?
No.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Mayor?
Answer my questions.
All right, moving on. We're hitting the halfway mark, folks. Obtaining a local share assessment grant in the amount of $102,437 to be used by the Wilkes-Barre YMCA Wellness Facility upgrades. Jim?
Good evening. Thanks for having us tonight. Jim Thomas, I'm the director for the Greater Wyoming Valley Area YMCA, and Doug Miller is with me tonight. He's the branch exec in Wilkes-Barre. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the project first?
A little synopsis of the project. Yes, sir.
Sure. So this is specific equipment that is designed for seniors, and since since COVID, our membership piece has really been slow in coming back. This particular branch had a large senior population. A lot of those seniors either took their exercise to doing some kind of cardio-related exercise outside. A lot of people never came back, just didn't come back from COVID. So this is something for us to try to, one, maintain the senior population that we currently still have, and if we could somehow try to get some of those seniors that didn't come back after COVID to come back and do exercise. Doug can talk a little bit about the ease and the reason why this particular equipment is designed for seniors and why it's easy for them to use.
So the eGym equipment is all digital. Members will spend up to about 20 minutes with a staff person to go through learning how to use it. They'll have a bracelet that they'll scan. The bracelet will set the seat height and also will remember their weights each time, and they'll also be able to track as they work out. So essentially it's a digital personal trainer. It eliminates a lot of the confusion when someone comes in and is just on their own to go ahead and use circuit training equipment or free weight equipment. And it also, the trend in the industry is moving away from cardio equipment and more strength training. So this is a good opportunity for seniors to be able to do that at the Y.
Do you have any equipment like this currently?
We have regular circuit training equipment, but not the digital. So this one doesn't come with, any of the.
Right.
There's a flow chart when you're on the digital thing that shows them when to lift, when to put it down, so they're getting the proper resistance.
Right, just ease of use for senior citizens or somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing.
Basically, it's like having a personal trainer.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, and so our on the membership piece, our population has been down about 30% since COVID, so we're missing that group. We used to, prior to COVID, we would replace a good section of either cardio or strength training equipment each and every year. We really have not had the funds to do that because the membership piece is not, we're actually underwater on the membership piece. So we're trying to redo what's in our wellness center and try to design it, like Doug said, to have a little bit less cardio, a little more strength training, trying to cater not only to seniors, but to the 20-year-olds that are out there that want to still come in and lift weights and do that kind of stuff in the wellness center. This piece would be, it's in a separate space for seniors, so it's also gives them some privacy. And it's also kind of, I think it'll be attractive to women too that don't want to be intimidated in the gym. So.
They can, there's 6 pieces of equipment and a station that they start at. It takes about 20 minutes to go through and do a workout, and 6 people can be using the equipment at one time, and it moves each person through the equipment.
That was going to be my question. What, 6 pieces of equipment you're going to be able to buy with that?
Yes.
It's going to be like a circuit.
Yes.
It's going to be a circuit. Yep. And this particular equipment you can get through relatively quickly. You can go through all 6 pieces in a line in about 20 minutes. So like a senior could come in and take a matter of balance class and either come before or after that class and spend 20 minutes and do their strength training piece. So we think it'll be used in conjunction with a lot of the other senior type programs that we do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, obtaining a local share assessment grant in the amount of $350,000 for the Greater Wilkes-Barre Chamber of Business and Industries Project Elevate. Lindsay?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Happy to be here tonight and answer any questions you have about our project. I know we provided some information in advance, but this is one we're really excited about. It's our, as many of you know, we were partial owners in the 2 Public Square building many years ago, and that ownership sold out about 3 years ago, and LCCC was able to develop into the space that was our office, which we were very excited about. We brought, many new students into the downtown with that development, but we had relocated since. We're currently renting space right now in the downtown area, and that was important to us, I think, to remain down here and really revitalize, after the pandemic and be part of that as we were bringing the city back. But we really knew that we wanted to show permanent ownership again in the city and show that we're rooted here in our community. So about 1.5 years ago, we purchased a Blight building on Northampton Street, 35 East Northampton. If anyone's familiar with that, it was the Charles and Mary Music. Had many iterations throughout the years. Been in Blight for about 13 years now. Found this building, really loved it. It's really on a block that, as many of you know, there's been many new developments on that block. A lot of our new housing complexes. I know a lot of our luxury apartments that were put into there that we have many new residents moving into. We have retail now on both sides, and one of our new restaurants, as well as a retail location, Evergreen, that opened up. And so really wanting to be part of, again, investing back into the community, and excited that this building there'll only be one more building on that block and will be fully blight remediated and occupied. So the building is about 7,000 square feet. The first level of it, it's 3 levels. First level will be community space. So we are going to allow the community to come into there and utilize it, much like our Think Center. Many of you are familiar with that, but we do let the community utilize about 150 to 200 times a year. That space will be used by nonprofits, students, after school programming, and then our offices will be above that. So this funding that we are requesting is going to be helping us to get to, the total cost of our construction project to totally, obviously right now, if you've driven past it, it's being remediated, so it did have, some blight remediation that needed to be redone. We have some asbestos and lead paint that are currently being underway, and then we're going to go forward with the full renovation of that, and hopefully by summer at this time next year, we are in that space and we'll have a brand new building on that block. So, any questions I can answer?
How many employees do you have?
So we currently have 8. We're bringing another one on, and then, we hope to continue expanding the team into the future. But any given time as well, we have probably about 2 to 3 interns on our team. We also have some, high school students in 11th, 12th grade that do work experiences with us. So I'd say overall there's about 13 to 14 in our office at any given time.
And about how many members do you have?
Over 600.
600.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
So I just have a quick question. So I did do a little research. It looks like you bought it for $190.
Yes.
You did get $1 million federal and $1 million state last year. So will
Correct.
this will complete the building
Yes, our organization is going to also be contributing to the project. As you know, obviously, when we first looked into the cost of the renovation of this, which was about 3 years ago, we did have some increase in that with the construction costs. So the LSA is really what will help us to get to completion with what our organization is also putting in financially. So yes, this is what will essentially get us to the finish line.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Obtaining a local share assessment grant in the amount of $189,465 to be used for Mia Bella's Gourmet Candles new equipment project. Bob?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I'm here to answer any questions about the project. We've been in
Just
business.
for the record, just your name and...
Robert Scocozo.
Thank you, sir.
And we've been here 24 years, 23 in Wilkes-Barre. We started out in 44. And the equipment we're buying is upgrading. As we look at the market, oils or essential oils are big. So our candles, our machinery is built for candles. And that's a big industry for us. But we see oils as happening, diffusers. And the machine that you're looking at will create the diffusers and sell, but I also have accounts that we can white label for. That machine will take 2 new employees to run. The second machine is a new label machine, which will be able to label different types of jars. Right now, we can only label 1 jar, a 16-ounce jar. Some of you have been in the building, took the tour. If not, you're welcome to come up. It's pretty interesting. We don't just throw wax in the jar. We use all-natural wax. We're one of the only companies that uses this form of natural wax. It's very expensive, but they burn clean.
How many employees do you have?
We have 14 right now. We're hiring 2 right now. We're interviewing people, and we'll need 2 for this machinery. 2 more.
Got it.
Questions?
Any questions?
No? Wish you the best.
That was easy.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
All right. Obtaining local share assessment grant in the amount of $70,000 to be used for Bulldog Barbecue. Now, this is going to be located on South Franklin. If you remember, we sold this empty lot, used to be called the old mill, and we tore down a building there, and we sold it, and Bulldogs is now going to be building a brand-new restaurant.
Way down on South Franklin, down by Shields.
Yeah, across from Shields.
Right, okay.
Hello, Council. My name is Vincent Ballant. I'm the owner of Bulldog Barbecue. Any questions you have, I can hopefully answer them. About a year ago, I purchased the property from the city, and over the course of the year, I've been going through the process of zoning, and I'm in most of the way through the land development phase, getting approvals from the city, the county, and such. And one of the things is the amount of concrete there is a lot. And while I'm planning on keeping and utilizing most of it for parking, there's about 30,000 square feet of concrete that need to be removed. I was hoping to put green space there as far as, natural grass, landscaping, trees. But the money would be going towards removing that concrete and getting probably about 300 tons or probably more of dirt and then landscaping. The financing is already in place for the building itself. This money would be basically used for the removal of the concrete and such.
Anyone?
Do you have employees yet?
I have 2 girls that do work for me now. My mom insists on working for free, but once we have the building built...
Keep her.
Once the building is built, we will be hiring anywhere from 5 to 10 employees to start, and then hopefully more as we grow. So,
thanks.
When will this building be completed?
Well, we are, like I said, in the land development phase. I'm hoping to get all the approvals in the next month or 2, and then, after that, I have to go through the building permit stages, so I'm hoping to break ground probably by early spring. I don't know if I'm being optimistic, but it'll be next year sometime, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully it'll brighten that area up. Really.
Yeah, my goal is to create a restaurant where you can, eat outside and be in the city without feeling like you're in the city necessarily.
Pretty cool.
I just have a quick question. Is this a requirement that you remove the concrete from the county zoning? Is that why you need to remove it?
Right now, I have a 2-year variance on the drainage, so there will be concrete that needs to be removed at some point, and this will just kind of help expedite that process.
For council's knowledge, this is the barbecue place that's on the, right now, it's set up temporarily on the corner of Orton and Barney.
Yeah.
Got it, right.
Might want to have good drainage there. It's important there. That spot gets flooded.
Terrible.
Any other questions?
Train tracks are terrible.
Okay, wish you the best.
Gosh.
All right, thank you.
And good luck. It's crappy down there.
Okay, we're in the final stretch, guys. Take a deep breath. You ready?
65 grand.
Okay. Obtaining a local share assessment grant in the amount of $250,000 to be used for Luzerne County Flood Protection Authority Relief Well Rehabilitation Replacement Project. Who's here for that?
Good evening, Laura Holbrook, Deputy Director of the Flood Protection Authority. We are requesting a grant application for $250,000 for our $300,000 project for the replacement and rehabilitation of the relief wells along the Wyoming Valley Flood Protection System. The relief wells, if you're not familiar with them, look like those inverted trash cans that sit along the base of the levee system. In Kirby Park is where they're mostly noted. You also have more wells down behind Barney Farms and that meet up with the Hanover Township line. The city has the majority of the wells within the system. The relief wells relieve hydrostatic pressures during high water events. So in other words, water builds up on one side of the levee, always wants to seek its own height, and tries to go through the levee. That's where these channels exist throughout the levee. They go to the relief wells. The relief wells relieve that hydrostatic pressure. So they're incredibly important to the system. The relief wells have to be inspected and tested every 5 years. We have always inspected and tested them as per the Army Corps of Engineers. They recently reviewed our inspection and found these several relief wells to be deficient. So this project would allow us to get them up to standards and replace a few that have actually collapsed. Do you have any questions?
These relief wells,
Yes.
wasn't familiar with them until 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
Do they have operating parts like pumps or anything like that, or is it just static?
So the relief wells are between 30 and 40 feet deep. They have a mesh screen over top, and then they're essentially static. They don't really serve much of a purpose until the high water is sitting on the other side. But when that happens, especially during 2011, we saw all of those relief wells essentially were full of water and kind of blew out the top. So they served their purpose, and thankfully they did. But they are static for the most part. But there aren't any pumps in them. That's part of the testing that we do, is to make sure that we can pump water through them and that they can take the loads that would be needed during a high water event.
So an essential part of our flood protection system.
Yes, it is.
What is the average age of them?
So a lot of them, we've actually abandoned a few during the levee raising project 20, 30 years ago. However, most of them are from the original project.
Oh, wow.
So
They're old.
they're old, yes. But again, and up to this point, we've never had to rehabilitate them because we've done those inspections and they've passed. It's just recently that they have not.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is to obtain a local share assessment grant in the amount of $200,000 used for the General Municipal Authority's new equipment project.
I'm Charlie Majikis. I'm the chairman of the Wilkes-Barre Municipal Authority. I want to thank council for the opportunity to answer any questions that you might have. But before we begin, I also want to thank the mayor and Charlie McCormick for that opportunity also. We are looking to purchase about a dozen pieces of equipment that is drastically needed. We currently share equipment with both Hollenbach and the Wilkes-Barre Municipal Golf Courses. Some of the equipment is personally owned by our supervisor. Both courses are doing well. Muni is down a little bit because of the never-ending road construction that's going on up there, but both courses are in great shape. I take my hat off personally to all the employees using this old equipment that we have. The public is very satisfied with the conditions of the courses. The complaints are down drastically, but we need to upgrade our inventory to keep the public happy, also the mayor, and of course, City Council. And I'm here for any questions that you might have.
Can you just tell us what equipment, lawnmowers, like, it's not golf carts, right?
No. I wish it was, but it's not.
Well, I mean, it's not like a nice golf cart, but.
No, like I said, we're looking to purchase about 12 pieces of equipment. A lot of them are pieces that go on bigger equipment.
Attachments.
I mean, one of the biggest things is what it's called a bank mower, and that's roughly $80,000 by itself. The one that we're currently using is a 2005 model.
Mr. Majerkis, will you be actually driving this equipment? Or how about Mr. Riley back there?
Just for the record, I've driven every piece of equipment up there, so.
So it's basically for just maintaining these courses?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The competition that's out there is incredible, so we're just trying to keep up.
Yeah, I agree.
The pre-COVID, post-COVID, the numbers, are they back up? Are they about the same?
Oh, of course, yes.
Good?
They're up.
Good, wonderful.
Yeah, I think you just completed a lot of work up there also as well, paving the cartways, and I know.
Yes, we did. We currently, to the tune of $1.8 million.
I think we're involved in that a little bit.
A little, yeah. I think somebody's signature was on there.
I hear the course is in great shape, thanks to the board and you guys.
We have 2 golf.
We appreciate
I
it.
hear it's good shape.
I know.
It's beautiful up there, too.
Any other questions for council?
No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Majek.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, authorizing the proper city official to sign all necessary documents related to the sale of 5963 Public Square, Wilkes-Barre, to J. Bass Realty LLC for the sale price of $450,000. Now, yes, Mrs. McClay, I'm coming before you again, asking for your permission, but I feel very, very strongly that Mr. Basiliga and his group are going to be very, very successful in this. So, Mr. Basiliga, your team here.
Hi, I'm Bob Borwick. I'm the board chair of Diamond City Partnership, our downtown organization, and also the board chair of Visit Luzerne County. And I just want to speak a little bit on behalf of Mr. Basiliga. He has done a tremendous job to our neighbors up north with redeveloping a lot of properties that weren't on tax rolls that need to be either restored or removed, and turned them into beautiful apartments, some wonderful restaurants, some old folks' homes. Oh, I said the wrong term. Senior living homes.
You're going to be there soon.
I'm already close to that point. But anyhow, I'd just like to say that I'm ecstatic that Mr. Basiliga and J. Bass Realty is looking to get involved in our Wilkes-Barre community. All his work is first rate. He will do a magnificent job, and he'll bring more people into town, put the building back on the tax rolls after, I don't know, 20 years, 30 years, and save a beautiful property that we're so glad that did not meet the wrecking ball. So on John Basiliga's behest, I'd like to introduce John and tell you that we in Wilkes-Barre and Luzerne County are thrilled to have him getting involved in our community. John.
Good evening. Your name, sir?
John Basiliga. So, good evening, Council. Thank you for your time and consideration regarding the First National Bank property. I'd like to give my thanks to Mayor Brown for his support and persistence. I appreciate his kind words given in today's Citizens Voice article. I'd also like to thank Mark Berry for taking me through the building. The work he previously did made this building worth investing in and essentially saved it. My name is John Basiliga. I am the president of the Basiliga Group. My company owns, manages, and operates over 2 million square feet of real estate, primarily throughout Lackawanna and Luzerne counties. We own strip centers, corporate centers, commercial space, retail space, construction companies, a movie theater, personal care facilities, restaurants, gyms, car washes, multi-unit apartment buildings, and even a former shopping mall. The Basilica Group collectively employs over 700 people, plus several hundred more through our subcontractor relationships. Our development arm, J. Bass Realty, has become a proven leader driving Scranton's revitalization and ensuring all of our projects are done with the highest level of class, integrity, and professionalism. That is the brand we have worked so hard to create and maintain. We handed out, I'm going to ask Margot if she could hand you just a presentation we have just on some projects we've done. Okay. We handed out our latest presentation showcasing several projects we completed over the years. As you can see, we are committed to finding unique projects that often prove to be the most challenging. We do not shy away from a challenge, we welcome a challenge. Our attention to detail and commitment sets us apart. Throughout the 2 decades J. Bass Realty has been in business, 100% of our projects have been completed with massive success, and 90% of those were completed within or below budget. That's a record I'm very proud of. As I walked up to the front door of the former bank, I was impressed by its beautiful architecture. Upon entering, I ignored the falling plaster and the peeling paint. I imagined a bright and clean building redone to match its historic intent. The building does not deserve an ugly mezzanine or other structural alterations that would ruin its original design. It needs to be restored. It is the future use that must be recreated to be viable and serve as an asset to the community. My initial plans would be to build a new restaurant, music venue, or some other type of public hospitality-related business. It's hard to imagine a better use without ruining what the building naturally offers. This plan would bring increased foot traffic downtown, a benefit to other surrounding businesses, and create dozens of permanent jobs. More importantly, it will bring hope and excitement. J. Bass Realty is up for the challenge and this opportunity to share our brand throughout Luzerne County. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Questions?
So you said primarily a restaurant you're looking at.
A public venue, which could be a restaurant, it could be partial, live music, that sort of hospitality edge thing. When you walk into the building, it just screams that. It needs to be something that doesn't affect the height,
right?
The natural architecture. So it's very fitting for it.
Yeah,
and I think it needs to be shared with the public.
The vaulted ceiling, I mean, it's very impressive when you go in. Any ideas, plans, the mezzanine that's in the back where the corporate boardroom used to be?
So I want to be able to walk through the front door and look right down an aisle and see a fire in the fireplace, and the upper mezzanine have private dining or a private event space and things like that. So I don't want to harm it. A lot of people would go in there and build a mezzanine, a second floor, just to increase rentable square footage, and that's not the right move for that building. You won't get the best yield per square foot, but that's not always the most important thing.
Have you figured out how many, if you did a restaurant, how many seats it could be?
Yeah, I would say between 140, to 130. I don't want to go too many. I want the service to be very exclusive. So a very exclusive feel.
And a bar.
The old, it fits very well because it has the old, where the bankers were, it's almost set up for that. On one side, left or right.
Not that you need this information to get any financing or anything like that, but that is the second building on that spot since 1769. There was a house there prior. The very first brick house ever built in Wilkes-Barre was built by a guy named Slocum, Jonathan Slocum, and then it became a bank in 1907. That's it. Only 2 places ever.
And that's super impressive, and even more so, nobody looks at the basement, but the basement needs to be utilized some way.
Yeah,
it could be great. So
now, do you have
exciting.
pardon me? Do you have a timeline on this?
I would get onto design. First thing we do is a creative design, and then we get into like a concept, because more than just building and creating a menu, we would like to theme our restaurants. You know, what does it feel like? What does the staff dress like? What kind of drink offerings they have and all that. So start that creative design almost right away.
Okay.
And then get into the architectural stuff, which isn't a ton, obviously, on the outside. You guys have done a great job with keeping it safe, but I would say to start construction within a year.
Okay, I've seen some of your work. It's been very, very beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Basiglia, you would purchase, rehabilitate the building, and develop it into a fine dining restaurant. Would you personally be involved in the day-to-day operations of that afterwards? Is that something that you would be involved in?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm involved in all my businesses every day.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have a separate hospitality division, we have a development division, we have property division, healthcare division, a bunch of different divisions, but on the hospitality side, I sit above them all. I don't have any partners on all my businesses 100%, so I'm in a day-to-day. If it's, you know, we're doing roofing or we're doing, you know, restaurants or we're doing healthcare, I do it all.
I have just a few. So I want to say whoever does your website, they do a fantastic job because I was able to get a lot of information from there. So it did save you quite a few questions. Just being nice. So
Websites are valuable.
it is, and because I mean I'm a research kind of person, but you're planning on keeping it as it is. As far as timeline on purchasing, so that has been this building's problem in the past. People promise to purchase it, doesn't purchase. So you're not looking for financing, you are ready to purchase this. You're not going to come for an LSA grant, you're not going to come for anything from the county. You're 100% ready to go, plan on purchasing by, do you have a date?
Well, I'll tell you something about, you know, my companies over the year. I bought the mall at Steamtown in 2015. I was 35 years old. I've never gotten a penny of grant money in my life. I don't come from wealth. I built my businesses. So, you know, having grant, it makes no difference to me.
Perfect.
There are some due diligence things that need to be done
Right.
and appraisals and
The
stuff like that.
right, the average time frame. So we're looking at what an average building.
Typically 60 days, but it wouldn't be contingent on financing. It could be contingent on having, you know, like a clean phase one or something like that. But, you know, we could get into that where everybody's happy with it, but yeah, if I'm committed to do something, I do it.
Well, this would have to go through zoning, too.
No. Why?
Wouldn't it go through zoning? No?
Typically in a downtown district, it's not zoning. I don't know how
Considered commercial,
Scranton's
I
like
guess.
that. And, you know,
It's considered commercial already.
yeah, right, not a change of use.
I just worry about the purchase. That's it.
Okay, what else?
Well, in case you, I've asked every month, like, about this
money on the
building, so
table.
he's happy to have it off of there, I'm happy to have it off of there.
And I could tell you,
I know.
I bought a lot of distressed properties over the years because, you know, when you're starting off and stuff, those are where the best opportunities are. Those buildings tend to go and be offered a little bit cheaper. So, you know, I've never stopped, but to every single detail, you know, the color of the lights will all be the same. The outside will look beautiful. We have maintenance guys that go around all the time, and I tell you, even a burned out light bulb bothers me an awful lot. I don't put up with that. Every bit of it will be perfectly.
And it's a beautiful building, so I'm glad
is.
it's going to stay. It's
Yeah,
actually
you would hate to see somebody go in there and try to change what it is, because it doesn't
Absolutely.
need that. The usage needs to be recreated, like I said.
I have a question for the mayor. Does this still come attached with that grant?
Mm-hmm.
The $250,000 grant?
With the purchase price of $450, it does come with a grant tied to that building for $250,000.
That's great.
For HVAC.
For anything inside the building, HVAC, like whatever John decides to use it for.
Okay.
Well, that'd be the first grant I ever received.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for you. Yeah, for you. Yeah.
I like saying I never got a grant, but I don't.
Yeah.
That one away.
That's why I asked.
But I mean, for architectural design or HVAC equipment and some stuff, you know, I have to find a really good plasterer. I might have to go to Italy to find that.
Design alone is going to cost a lot of money.
We get with architects a lot, but we do a lot of our design in-house. We give the ideas to it. They have to draw it, of course, for stamped drawings and stuff, but, you know, every day it's, you know, things might move a little bit or change a little bit, but I'm confident. This is a great building. It's a great city. I have Serenity, I have a building, Serenity Healthcare down in Kingston. I have one in Wyoming, so I do have properties in Luzerne County already. Not new to the area, but I'm excited to be part of the square for sure, the downtown district.
Yeah, I'm glad you're going to invest in our city. That means a lot to us.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Questions? No, thank you.
We're good, Bill?
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Before we move on, I just want to say, as the mayor of the city of Wilkes-Barre, I am 150% behind this sale to Mr. Basiliga. You see his history of investments and what he's done in the city of Scranton. We need those investments in the city of Wilkes-Barre. So I would ask you to please go along with this request and allow us to sell the building to Mr. Basiliga. It would be a showplace, and as the mayor, I ask your support. Okay, moving on. Authorizing the proper city officials to sign any and all documents related to leasing. Now, it says up to 3,500, but I have exact number, which would be 2,859 square feet. And that's at $17 per square foot. This will be utilized and paid for by the Health Department grant. We have a grant that's going to set this up as a place, and you'll see in the back of there's an outline of what we want to use this for. So I'm not going to go through that because you already have that information. But also this will be a dual use. The Health Department will utilize it, but also in case we have a natural disaster like we've had in the past and we have to move City Hall out of this building. This is out of the flood zone, and it's adaptable for me to set up City Hall in that area. So the main use is going to be for the Health Department, but it's also going to be adaptable in case we need it for that command center during a disaster.
Will the health department be stationed there all the time, Monday through Friday, or is that just
I don't know how Hank is going to set, but it'll be basically
just for
part of his health department landscape, if you want to call it that. They have the, Kirby Center.
Yeah.
They have here, Kirby Health Department, and they also have here, but that'll be a third place that people will be utilizing that. I can't say on a daily basis. It might be on a daily basis, but that's really something that he would determine. But once again, it's paid for by a grant. Okay?
Questions?
All right. Moving on to the last. This is an ordinance that, okay, Kathy, to go on to the ordinance? Okay. I want to preface this a little bit first. We all know that we have quality of life situations in the city, and we get calls every day. I get them, you get them Saturdays, Sundays, late at night. And my administration is taking a tough stance on quality of life violations. And that's why I want to get your permission to increase the fines for quality of life
Give them out.
situations that, have to be addressed, okay? For those violations, the fines will be significant. And you can see that there's some numbers here that we put together for you to see what they are, but they're significantly higher than the old quality of life fines. So this is going to be something that I need your help with to help us get tough with the people, any of the quality of life violations, okay? Some are out-of-town landlords that really don't care, don't live in the city of Wilkes-Barre. Others are people that do live here, but just don't care about their neighbors or the city itself. So I believe you were given a listing of what they are and the new amounts. My assistant here, Lisa, actually has a listing of the old amounts. So if you'd like that, we also have that just to compare. But what you're going to be approving is the new amounts that are on the ordinance.
Yeah, they're like double screen.
Just a quick question on that. So after the 48 hours is what happens? Does the fine double? Are they then taken to the magistrate?
No, it actually depends on what it is, okay? And there's a process that we have to follow. But
One was lower.
we actually have several that we're taking to the magistrate right now.
Perfect.
Okay, and Councilwoman, I've actually been at some of those hearings, and I've made my presence known as the mayor that I support them. So if they do not correct the quality of life violation and they have to go to the magistrate, we send Attorney Collins, has been just about all of them, right, Maureen?
Yes.
And we make sure that we send our attorney there to make sure that we have a good appearance before the judge and that they know how serious we are. But the intent here is to even show the people that are violating those quality of life ordinances that we're going to get tough and we're going to start really hitting their pockets.
Yeah, that's nice.
I know that we reach out to you and your staff on almost daily basis, it seems, with quality of life issues. And you've been very responsive to all of those, and we appreciate all the work that you do. It'd be great if you didn't have to do that, and everybody did what they're supposed to do, but we know that that's not always the case. So I'm hopeful that these increased fines will even bring more attention to these issues that we deal with on a daily basis.
And Bill, it's much like when we increased the fine for fireworks. I can honestly tell you when we doubled that fine, there was less reports this year on the 4th of July. Now, the 4th of July, the night of the 4th of July, I don't know what we can do there, okay? Honestly, and we do the best we can. But our officers are going from call to call to call on the 4th of July. But the information that was provided to me, okay, from police and fire, is that the amount of calls have been reduced since we increased that fine. And people are being fined and being cited if we catch them. Unfortunately, we had 3 properties that caught on fire. The most recent one that you know about is Casey Park, where the Holy Redeemer girls' softball field was caught on fire because of a firework. So we feel that worked well there. Now we're going to start working on the other quality of life violations. So I'm asking for your support.
Mayor, I'm kind of big on enforcing our quality of life ordinances and items, but what's our collection rate? I know you don't know the numbers right in front of you, but do we get a good percentage of them paid? To me, it seems like we cite them and it goes on, and then it goes in front of the district judge and it dies there. And it's kind of like, why are we here? Like, we're not getting that done. It's not getting paid. You know, they're not paying a penalty.
We do cite them, Mr. Belusco, and Maureen is the one, like I said, she appears. So the judge understands that. Now, if the judge takes a fine of, say, $1,000, and he may spread that out over several months, okay, even more than several months, we can't control that, okay? But if we do have outstanding citations that are not collected, we actually are utilizing an agency that's going to help collect that.
Oh, good. Good. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, Mayor, thank you.
Maureen, did you want to address that at all? You're at the hearings. You might want to answer Mr. Belusco's question.
Do we seem to get collections on those?
I don't have any.
Do they even show up?
I don't have, oh, yeah, sometimes they do fail to appear, or
Okay.
they appeal it, and then we go to the county court level with it. But yeah, once it's, the fine's imposed, there's a guilty, or a conviction, the court imposes, they're responsible to pay the fine, the court costs, and the court will work with some of them if they don't have the ability to pay. Sometimes a payment.
I can understand that.
Is set up. So
And
the
Mike,
money
just
comes
recently,
into the office and.
we had a case before a Luzerne County judge, not a magistrate, but a judge. And Maureen, I think you represented us at that hearing. But anyway, if at the magistrate level, they can appeal, but if we have to, we go to Luzerne County Court before a judge.
Correct.
Well, I'm glad we stay on them, that's all.
Oh, no, our code enforcement does a great job. Maureen does a great job. And we're taking this to the next level, Mike. We're serious about this.
Good. Thank you, Mayor.
But I need your help in getting
Yeah,
this.
I think this is long overdue, and like you said, our code enforcement, they do the best they can for the limited people that we do have for this size of city.
Okay, so everybody's probably wondering where we are in this process now. I think the mayor's gone through all the resolutions.
You good?
Pending. So what happens now is we provide an opportunity for the public to provide a comment on any one of these resolutions or that ordinance prior to them being voted on, which will happen subsequent to that. So that being said, is there anyone here beside the presenters who wishes to speak on these pending resolutions? John?
Yeah.
I see you shaking your head.
I mean, this is the meeting I show up for no matter what every year. So,
Name for the record.
John Sahoski, Almond Lane. First thing with these LSA grants, does anybody have any conflicts of interest that are going to be voted, like that make it so you can't vote on anything? And will there be any more LSA grant applications after this? Because I know I've been told in the past no, and then late ones come in. So like, I imagine this meeting's like an advertisement for anybody who misses their, grant that they'll usually put them in, and then we usually do a late meeting. So I'd like to know that just before I start, if we're going to have another any more, if this process is closed or is it open, so.
Okay, is that it?
No, God, no, it's not it. It's the process, I just need to know that, but I'll keep going. Like, the ministry, that's not a bad one. The police, I mean, that's for us at least. Police and fire, we at least got our some. Police, fire, like, but I like this year that you guys went with, you threw some small businesses in there. I don't know if they'll get funded, but at least like the monies that go to the small businesses have a chance of making it back to the tax roll. So I think that's at least somewhat of an improvement of how we've been approving these grants. But I think, we have, we really don't even have enough time to talk about all these grants because there's like, got like 10 or 12. I'm just going to try to go for the ones that I care about one way or another. King's, $600,000 for security. Like, first thing, that's a phase 1. So I'm assuming there's going to be a phase 2. I just need to know that. But I don't think that they're, whose security is more important? King's or ours? Because like, I see that we have a police grant, but where does that help the rest of the city? That doesn't help me over in the Mayflower area, like that we're that doesn't help a lot of us. I think that, maybe instead of applying for a 600,000, or even, this process is usually everybody votes yes for the most part. That's what I've seen in the years of coming to LSA meetings. Why don't we put up another $600,000 grant for the police, our own police? I mean, why should a different police department be getting more of a grant than the actual police, allowed to apply for a grant that's more than the actual police department in the city? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me that they could ask for more money than our own police department. And I heard this from years ago from the Wilkes officer, or the Wilkes person asking for a grant for them at one point, and this guy from King said it as well. They always say that the cameras help them, but they don't tell you how many times. So maybe the cameras helped once. Like, could we get a number from him, or does anybody know? Because the guys who come in for these grants seem to have a habit of saying that, our cameras help the city, but is there any statistics on it? Like, somebody needs to just tell me if there was any way that they know of situations where those helped, and they just probably keep numbers on it. Like, I'm going to go to something I say every year, but like, I really think that we should be focusing on, like, you can make a lot of changes if you didn't approve a whole bunch of grants and just did one. Like the Iram Temple, for example, like, I mean, I 100% think that they should get that. What they're applying for, I think that they should get more, because a project like that, if we actually get that project done, that changes the whole downtown. Everything changes down there. The hotels that are never getting built might actually get built because there's something around them, and you're going to build up any building around there that's open. Like, I always yell about like the colleges getting properties, but it's because like now if the town comes back and the colleges have those properties, you're not going to have many places to open up other businesses. Like, that's why I always yell about that. Nothing against the colleges. It's just that like Iram Temple's the most important thing on here, I think. Like, I really think you should like phase them out. Like, I was looking before I started to speak. Pittston, like I always reference Pittston. They did a 4 or 3-year phase plan where they got the downtown $3 million and changed their whole downtown. If we were smart, we would do that and focus our grants into some type of certain area. But I think, if we could get the Iram Temple back open, it's a game changer for the whole downtown. Like they were saying about the open floor model with concerts, that would come out really well. You'd get a lot more people down here. And it would, businesses would sprout. We would get that money back by people opening business, paying taxes, having foot traffic. That should be the plan. Okay, I'm running out of time. Mia Bell, I would like to see him get his grant. I know Bob, he's taken me through the tour once or twice. We don't have many places that like produce stuff and ship stuff out. We have him and Stegmeyer is all I could really think of. There might be a few more, but you know what I mean? Like, that's something that actually gets produced, sent out all over the place. I think, it's something at least that we have that we make that works. And the building, the public square building, I mean, the guy sounds legitimate, as long, like, if he has the financing and stuff, you know, give him a chance, like, I hope the best, you know. Please don't make us look like everybody else did. Like, I just, you know, I hope you guys could get that building sold and something done to it. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. You know, we sit here and every year we go through this, and we're not approving grants. You know that. We're not approving grants. The only thing we're approving is the submission of the application to the state. And you talked about the process, correct me if I'm wrong, but they need to be submitted to the state by the end of this month. So there isn't a whole lot of time for somebody else to decide to apply for one and get it through the process. It's not going to happen. So that's why we have such a lengthy list of them here today. I think they're all, I mean, if we can help anybody, I don't want to stand between a small business or King's College or anyone else. If they can improve their facility, their business, whatever it may be, and God willing, they do get a few dollars to help them do that. I go back to King's College. I know Father Looney is sitting right here in the front. I'm looking right at him. They take safety, that's paramount to anything else. And both Kings and Wilkes have very safe campuses, and it's their responsibility to keep them that way. And we want safe campuses in our downtown, because if the campuses are not safe, then what do you have? So I commend them for doing that and looking. I don't know how many phases they do have in this project. It's not that they don't have cameras now, and it's not that they don't have police officers and security officers, that they have all of that. But they have to keep continuing that process, and I'm speaking for you, and I shouldn't. If you wish to say a few words, you may very well.
No, I appreciate that, Bill. I think the safety is a major concern at the institution.
Step up to the microphone there, Father, please.
So it's a major concern, safety. So when parents come bringing their students to open houses on our campus, when parents are separated from their children and to ask questions, first question I ask is, how safe is your campus? Because if you come into the city, to our campus, you pass by some blight, you pass by, you know, numerous places now adjacent to our campus, right? The Keystone Mission has just opened a homeless center, for example. You come around that corner, there's often 50, 60 people lined up waiting to come. Well, for somebody coming and thinking, where am I going to send my son or daughter to college? They need to know that our campus is safe, right? And we have a great relationship with the city police. I know that, you know, our director, Jim Gilgallen, often provides video cameras stuff to the city police department to help them to track crimes in the area. You know, the recent shooting right in front of the cinema the other day, 2 of our students were on the news this morning being interviewed about that shooting. Well, you know, that goes out to our parents, and then the questions get asked. Is the college campus safe? And anything we can do to mark that out, increase lighting, those kind of things, they're really essential to the college. Our students come, their families come, they spend money in the downtown, they're here. It's really important, I think, to the vitality of the city, for Wilkes and for Kings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Father.
Father Looney, how many employees do you have at Kings? My question of the evening.
375, I think.
375?
Don't quote me.
And how many students?
We have right now 1,475 full-time undergraduate students at the college, 135 full-time graduate students.
Okay, so say roughly 2,300, 2,400 people at any given day or in your part of Wilkes-Barre. Great.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
Just to answer your question, I have no conflicts. I'm not on any of these, I don't belong to any of these businesses. And I did do a little research on LSAs. So this grant is actually the Luzerne County LSA, which ends September 30th. There's also a statewide LSA, which ends November 30th. So you may see more, but they're not the same. They are 2 different LSAs.
And to follow up on what Bill said, I want as much of this money, it looks like an awful lot of money, I want as much of this money come into the city of Wilkes-Barre that we can grab, because it is a money grab. It's try to get as much as we can into the city. That's why I've always approved these, just because it's coming into my city, and the more money in my city, the happier I am. But to follow up on King's College, it is, you touched on it, John, it is a safety thing, and Father was right. Mr. Gilgallen, that's his head of security, is a retired state trooper who would know more than him about security. So, I'm behind that LSA as well. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, anyone else for Mr. Soskis? I'm sorry, Mayor. Sure. Go ahead.
John, I just want to make you aware of the fact, too. We're not going to stop at 5 police cars. We're buying 10. And we have 5 more that we're looking for funding through Senator Fetterman's funds that he has. Okay, so, what's wrong? Okay. Through Senator Fetterman's office. So the goal is to provide the officer in the back there with 10 new police cars. Okay, to replace the 10 that we bought 2.5 years ago. And also, just so you know, these LSAs, as the council said, Mr. Pashinsky, okay, and our state senator, Mr. Flynn, are the ones that actually allocate the monies for this. We have 14 that we presented today. Doesn't mean 14 people are going to get what they want or anything at all. It's how Mr. Pashinsky, how much of the pie he gets and how much of the bigger pie, that the senator gets. They determine how much and who gets what money. All this is a vehicle. Once it goes to my office, I approve it, I go to council, and then they approve it. Then it's up to Mr. Pashinsky and, the senator. So if you have any issues with any of these, they would be the people you should reach out to. But all we're doing is putting it in their hands. And thirdly, you're going to see that the wall up on Hazel Street is going to be...
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
I promise you I'd let you know about that. It's in the works. We already got the contractor. We got the money. It's going to start. You're going to love what you're going to see.
We're going to get into that in a second.
Anyone else on pending legislation? No?
Angel Mathis, Wilkes-Barre, and again, I'm with John, because quite honestly, every year we sit through LSA and every year King's asks for money. And King's College campus is very safe. And you can take my word on it because I lived in the middle of it for 13 years until they bought the building and displaced 9 families. And we're still, some of us are still looking for suitable housing. But that's to come later. And what's the name? My question, the other thing is, is there a limit to how many LSAs you can put in? Because quite honestly, I know you're just passed through. Because I know, how government work. But, we get basically certain same people come and ask for all of this money in phase 1 of this, and then next year they'll be right here back again asking for money in phase 2, and then asking for money in phase 3 in the next year. When, quite honestly, pass your cost on to your students. It's a lot of costs that can be passed on. And I've been a student and I have lots of college debt too. So I do understand that. And as a parent, I have children with college debt too. So safety is what you pay for. That's it.
So I'll answer your question on the LSA. There is no limit on how many they can apply for. They can actually apply for more than one for this round of LSAs as long as it's a different project. So if they wanted to do security and then they wanted to apply for a different project, they can do that. I did read the guidelines. There's no limit on how many they can apply for as long as it's a different project and they don't combine. Yes.
Anyone else, council? No? Okay, anyone else on pending legislation? Okay.
All right, does council want to take the resolutions and minutes as a consent, or is there anything anybody wants pulled or anything? No, we're all good with one vote?
Consent.
Okay, so we're going to take all of the resolutions and the 3 minutes for the council meeting, zoning and planning commission. We need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. McClay,
Second.
second by Mr. Mirren. Mr. Belishko?
Yes.
Mrs. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Mirren?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
And then we need a motion and a second on
I
the
know.
ordinance number 4 of 2024
Motion.
Second.
by Mr. Belishko and second by Mr. Brooks. Mr. Belishko?
Yes.
Mrs. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Mirren?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
And Mr. Barrett?
Yes. So again, some of you are new to being with us, but that was the official vote on those resolutions. As you heard, they all did pass, council. We go into the next phase of our meeting, that's presentations by city council members, which may or may not be relevant to this. But just for your information, the resolution did pass, and the next step in the process, I'm not overly familiar with what happens after this point. Mayor, maybe the resolutions were approved, they get submitted through your office, or? Okay, all right.
I know, that's why I didn't do it.
Okay, everyone.
My hand hurts.
Okay, Mr. Belisco.
I know the mayor's very familiar with this incident that happened.
Maybe you want to hold it
Yeah,
one
give it a
second.
minute.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Some already left. Everybody say, hey.
See you.
See you, Bob.
See you, Bob.
Good luck.
Jeez, we got anybody?
I'm always the last.
Like somebody pulled the fire alarm.
Nobody wants to stay for good
We're not
stuff?
that entertaining.
You're up next.
No, this is more like a council meeting.
There we go.
It's like we had last month.
Okay. Open the floodgates.
Go ahead, Mr. Belisco.
Again, I know the mayor's very familiar with this item that I'm going to speak about, and maybe many of you are. August 16th of this past year, we had MoFon Lounge. I spoke with the mayor prior to, earlier in the day, and he explained to me all the things that the city can do, which was very little. It was basically on the noise ordinance, but I found myself so handcuffed that I couldn't help all the residents that were contacting me. Good friends, many residents, and I was just telling them the same thing as Chief Coffey would say to me or any of us, is to call 911. That's all I could say, and that was fruitful. It wasn't helping at all. And they basically refused to change the music, lower the music. It was extremely loud. I was there. I actually witnessed it and heard it. I wouldn't want to be living next to that, as many residents are, and they heard it within, a good 500 feet radius of the building. And I always look at it like, if it was next door to me, would I want that as my residents contact me? And this is one that I just felt handcuffed, that I had no help. I know the mayor would have done the same thing if he could, but we just can't. My thing is, maybe I work with Maureen and Tim Henry, our attorneys, maybe have an ordinance for a permit, requiring a permit of commercial and possibly residential, if you want to have an outdoor party with a live band or even a DJ, that you have to get approval through the city with all the different particulars of it, what time it's going to start, what time it's going to end. If you're told to turn the music down, you have to turn the music down. And if not, there's a whole nother citation right there if you violate any of the items. I mean, we'll work it out, but I think as a legislative branch that we all are here, we need to help the residents there. This could happen in any one of our districts. And for me to go through that, and I went through it till after midnight. I know some residents were gonna come, but obviously they're not. But it's something I really want to get done, and I want your help with doing it. And I think the mayor would agree with it. It's as long as it's legal through Maureen and Tim again, that we could do it. I think I really want to do this just to help the residents in the city as a whole. Thank you, Bill.
So I have a question. So Maureen, a noise complaint is filed. A neighbor calls 911 to that particular restaurant. Police go there, say, hey, knock it off, give them a warning. They turn the music back up. Another 911 call comes in, second time the cop comes, then we can find them, correct? And how much can we find them?
I'd have to see what the ordinance says. I don't have the ordinance.
Yeah, and it's not, the list of prices on this one though, right? That's the quality of life ones. But that's my understanding. So I mean,
You had to be getting the calls too.
Yeah, because we're right on the border, and
Right.
they're coming from in the middle of Mallory Place, which is, that's
pretty far away.
That's down and around from
Yep.
West River. They're also coming from Academy Street, and then you and I share South River Street going down, and I'm getting calls from the other side of Academy Street, on my side. So the Downtown Residents Association meeting last night was all about MoFon Lounge.
Oh, really?
That was the complete discussion on how absolutely disgusted everybody is and why can't people be respectful and of the city.
And our hands are tied, Tony. That's why I was saying this. Our hands are tied.
But still, we could cite them on the second time when a cop comes for the second time and tell them to turn their music off.
But is it one site, or can we cite them again? And, I mean, is
I would assume every single time you make a noise. Nobody should be disturbed. Their peace and quiet and your quality of life is the most important thing. We're passing more quality of life stuff here, and I really believe in a constitutional right to peace and quiet.
So, Tony, that's kind of where I'm going with this, is because you have to get approval from the city right beforehand, and you have to go by this set of rules. So we could say nip it in the bud early.
Right, I see.
Like maybe if they wanted to do something in the future, it would be no. And it'll be a huge fine if you do it, especially being you know about it. Then it would have a huge fine, you know, $1,000 or whatever the case may be.
And of course, it's not just this place. It's, I mean.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere. I'm not trying to
college
pick on
parties.
them, but,
Yeah.
and the mayor, you've had to get tons of calls. I got calls, Tony got calls, you had to get calls.
No, I did, like every council member probably. But let me qualify something. Everything that they had to do to get that ban there, it was on private property, and they had the authority, and they applied to PLCB, and they got approval. But since that evening, all those requests for sending police down and the complaints that we had were, PLCB was notified. Okay, so the Liquor Control Board was notified, and our police department worked to get them that information. So all that information through Chief Coffey's office was sent on to PLCB. Okay, now, I can't say what's going to happen next time they apply for another authorization, but this is something that PLCB has on record. Okay? Mike and council members, like I said, our hands are tied. They were on private property.
Right, that's.
And we did, when Mike Sluster gave them the okay to do it, he did notify them that the officers come down. They better turn it down. Okay, and they said, yes, we'll do that. Okay, but we did as much as we can. If you can give me more teeth, I'm happy.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to do, Mayor. We'll work on it. We'll work on it with Tim and Maureen, and we'll see if we could do something with more teeth. To at least I give our officers a little bit more help to enforce ordinances.
Good.
But this is something we really need to address. This is definitely something we need to address.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bill.
Anything else, sir?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
Mrs. McClay?
Okay, so let's start off with, I know we only have one meeting in September. Is there, being that we had all these LSAs today, and September 30th is the deadline, maybe we could look at next year making 2 meetings in September?
You are a mind reader.
Yeah, I
We just
agree.
had that conversation
Okay.
probably
Would you
2
like to
hours ago.
switch the one meeting? In the past, we've switched it to December and only had one meeting in December. The only reason we went back to September was because December came, it was the end of the year, and always something came up, and we used to have a special meeting.
I mean, I'm okay if we have to have 2 in September and 2 in December. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think this was a lot to take in, and it required a lot of questions and stuff, so, I mean, if we're
We
all
would
in
just do
agreement.
like an LSA.
I mean, we can always
Yeah.
do a special meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
So like
In
if,
fact, we had to last year, didn't we?
But I'm thinking that since September 30th is the deadline, it's always going to be like this, because obviously they wait, till the end to get it into us, so
It passes the
if we could just have it on the books, or,
next meeting.
I mean,
Personally, I would be in favor of having 2 in September and 2 in December. I think
I agree.
having 1 in September is not.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe we can talk about changing the calendar.
2 council meetings or 1 LSA meeting and a council
Just
meeting?
Regular meeting.
Yeah, regular.
Regular meetings.
or you can always go to the one in May and do May, June, July, and August.
Well,
I'll look at the information that I have.
let's look at it, but I think that we need to do something for next year, change the
Great.
calendar.
So,
The situation.
So we're not overburdened.
we'll bring it up later.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll look into it.
This one's marked off. We just sold the FCB Bank. Perfect. The Northampton building, where that hotel is supposed to be, do we have any update? Is there any progress on that?
No.
There we go.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, next.
Wow.
I was waiting for a big look. I gotta love
I am a
that.
man of few words. We have no idea what's going on with that. The time ran out to close on the First National Bank, and that's why we moved into
Yeah.
a new person to purchase it. I have no idea what's going on with the Luzerne Bank building. I've not had any contact with the developers.
And what about the one on Main, South Main and
The old Sphere.
Northampton?
Land.
The empty lot?
Oh, you mean the Sphere development?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is in the works, it's happening. The developer is out of Florida, and we've had many, many discussions with them. They are very intent on getting that going. If everything happens the way that they're hoping it happens, it will be soon, but I don't think I can share.
No, as long as I know you've had discussions with them and they're not like
They did feasibility
AWOL.
studies, and they came out where they know what they're going to build there. Okay, so, and I think it was in the paper that, one of the two papers carried that, I'm not sure if it was your paper or if it was your paper about, that they called up and they asked us what we want to build there. Anyway, it's going to be a beautiful complex, but unfortunately, I'll be happy to share more if I get their approval with you, okay? But yeah, it's going to happen. That's probably going to be the first thing to happen very soon.
That'll be nice. Okay, so then I'm going to move on to, on the zoning agenda, there is a hearing for an Airbnb. I looked through our ordinances, we don't have anything specifically addressing Airbnbs, and I found something on like boarding and rooming houses. Is that something that we should maybe be looking at, because it seems to be? I just think we're going to get into problems if we start allowing everybody to turn their places into Airbnbs. So is that something we just leave up to zoning, or is that something everybody thinks we should maybe get
There are a
involved
few,
in?
right? Isn't there a few already in Wilkes-Barre that they do advertise?
Yeah, one guy was here, it was one. Yeah.
And the Airbnb is coming to East Chestnut Street, so I'm not really sure who would want to stay there. I mean, it's not downtown, at least you could walk to the colleges or
You
something.
can't go for breakfast anymore.
Right, the bridge is closed, so they can't cross the bridge. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's the
Yeah.
right place, but
You
I
think
didn't,
from a standpoint of permits and licenses and inspections and stuff like that, I
Yeah.
would imagine that would be something we'd want to look at. that
okay.
they're up-
Yeah, I
No.
kind of tried to look and I didn't see anything, so I didn't know if it came up previously or not, but maybe we put that on the radar. I do plan on attending the zoning, so I can keep, and then dumpsters. I don't know about everybody else, but there's tons of dumpsters everywhere, but they seem to be just dropping them everywhere. They're, like, Penn Ave, there was one in front of a fire hydrant. I mean,
Yeah.
you would think common sense not to block the fire hydrant. I mean, I've seen them on the opposite side of the street. Do we go out to the homeowners and tell them about this, or do we reach out to the dumpster companies about it?
Best thing is just call the city, and our inspectors will go out. There are
Okay.
regulations for dumpsters.
Yeah.
If it's on your property, it's different from being on the street.
Yeah.
And there is a fee to put a
Permit.
dumpster on the street. So the best thing is, your interaction really would not be the benefit. We'll send code enforcement out there.
So just
Much better
report
that
it,
way.
okay.
Yeah, there's like a $50 fee, I believe, for a dumpster.
And $300 fine if you don't have it.
Yeah, that's actually what reminded me. I saw it, I was like, oh, thanks.
Thank you.
And then my last thing is the Keystone Mission, and Father actually brought a great point up.
Yeah.
It is,
Too much.
we've put a lot of money into the homeless population here in the city of Wilkes-Barre. And if you drive past there, which I do because I live right on that street, there are pop-up tents out back, there are people sleeping on cardboard, there have been people seen urinating back there. What is, I thought by giving them that extra money, they were open more now so that we wouldn't have that happening. Do we know why? Do we know why they are back there? I mean, is there something we could do about it to maybe clean it up a little bit?
Yeah, they are open more, but they have to shut down because the people that go in there are allowed to take showers, clean their clothes, and they have to do some sanitizing and cleaning.
Okay.
And when it's shut down, those people are congregating there now. What we did was the tents that are there are tents. We gave them to Keystone Mission to utilize so that during the hot summer months, 89 degrees out, people used to be shaded and they could put water out there to hydrate. The plan was to have a patio area for them, but that building was actually purchased by another person, and that has to be worked out with that new owner. But I understand what you're saying. I hear it every day. I know about it. But the homeless population is growing. We have more and more. So we're doing the best we can. But Keystone Mission does a wonderful job. But I think the amount that we're getting in now is really taxing their system. The city can't be the only one that's taking care of funding the homeless population. We can't do that.
No.
There are other social agencies that should be helping out, and we did as much as we could with your help. Now, other agencies have to get involved. If you remember 2 years ago, when we did the ARPA funds, we gave 24 social agencies $1 million to split between those 24 agencies. So some of those people should be helping out, and we can't do any more. I have no more money to come to you saying, help out. It has to be either funded by the Keystone Mission or people that are going to devote some of their funds to that. I do have a meeting actually tomorrow with Danielle, who's the chairman of Keystone Mission. We're going to talk about that very situation.
Can you bring up to her, because I actually went for a bike ride sometime last week, and they block the sidewalk. Somebody changed their bike to the telephone pole there. They've laid on the sidewalk, so at least for now, if we could keep the sidewalk clear to, make it a little bit easier to get around.
I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you. And I'm good.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you. Mr. Mirren.
I just want to touch base about what Mr. Belasco said about these noise ordinances. Something does have to be done about them, and it's getting out of hand. And the cops, they're kind of handcuffed too as well. With trying to help us out, and we're constantly getting calls about this. They're playing from their car, which I don't like. They play the music from their cars so they could hear it in their house. So it's so hopefully we can all get together and come to some common ground and maybe fix this. That's it.
It's residential housing, too.
Yeah.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes, I have a couple of things. First, I'd like to thank our police department for the quick action and the work that they did last night and today in capturing that person right off the bat. That is excellent to know. And for you, Charlie, 28 West South Street yet again.
I already saw it. I passed by it yesterday.
Yeah, so it's quality of life number 11. Those high weeds have been there all summer. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you.
Weeds, grass.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, nothing else.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thomas, anything this evening?
Not today, Mr.
Charlie, the mayor, the only thing I have that's not taken care of, and I know that you've reported this, under the Cross Valley Bridge on Scott Street, going into Parsons, there is a safety fence which keeps people from walking up onto the expressway that's laying flat on the ground and has been there. I believe they've been notified. We just follow up with them.
Yeah, I'll follow up on it, but they've been fairly non-responsive, which is unusual for them.
Yeah, that's a safety issue. And then the other issue is with that down and the mud there's no way for people to get through there without walking on the road. And we've talked about that. I think Dave Lewis is trying to follow up with them to see if there's something they can do to make that a little bit more pedestrian friendly, that area right there, because people do walk through that area and they ride bikes and wheelchairs and everything else through there.
So you're talking the area by Anthracite?
Yes, right under the bridge.
All right. I think I told you I was going to reach out to them, and I did.
Okay, sir.
You guys are getting your money's worth out of it. You guys are getting your money's worth out of it. But I did talk to PennDOT. They are not responsible for putting sidewalks in that area. They asked us if we wanted some signs, caution signs, and I said yes, pedestrians walking, but they are not responsible for the sidewalks. So it's going to fall on either us or not doing it, and, that's the answer that I got, Bill.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree with them. It is under their underpass. It's their property that abuts it. I know we own the further up, and it is a state route, SR 2020. So I think they should be a little bit more interested in the safety of pedestrians walking under that expressway and along there. But I appreciate your efforts, though, I really do, and I understand you're trying to do it. I appreciate that.
Well, you bought lunch, so I had to do it.
Next time. Okay, anything else from council members? We'll move on to public discussion. Thank you, Mayor. Barbara Dietrich.
Good evening. My
Evening.
name is Barbara Dietrich. I'm a resident of Gilligan Street, here to discuss an abandoned factory, and I do have photographs for everybody. A neighbor took them. There's 3 shots of the building. I'll just give them to you that way. Thank you. The first one you'll see is the outside of the building as you come down Gilligan Street. It looks like almost the beginnings of a rainforest. There's so much vegetation covering the building. Sometimes it creeps through the fencing out onto the sidewalk where you can't even walk on the sidewalk. Then you'll see a picture of a gate that they occasionally padlock, and then people that are going in and out of there, they break the padlock. We have had homeless people in there. We've had a lot of young teenage, I'm saying teenage, but young people going in there. Occasionally, we see people being dropped off and going in there. Occasionally, we see people coming out and being picked up. Whatever that all means, I really don't know. We've had fires in there. We've called 911 on several occasions. The police have come out, and we were told, you cannot secure this building. It's impossible. It's too big. And they don't even want to go in, and they won't go in. So those of us that live coming right up the street, and I'm the 4th house up, one of these days, this is like, it's beyond an eyesore. It's like a disaster waiting to happen. There's already been a fire. We're afraid there's going to be a huge fire one day, and some of these houses, mine included, are going to be gone, or there's going to be drug deals going on in there, and if the police, they respond, but then they can't do anything, we feel absolutely helpless. And Mr. Mayor, if you get good quality of life ordinance passed, I've got a gold mine for you right there, but believe me, I don't know who owns the building, but it's not being taken care of. There's just, sometimes you look into the open gate area, there's mattresses thrown in there, garbage thrown in there, garbage right on the what should be the outside of the locked gate, and it's embarrassing. I recently had friends come to visit me, and they hadn't been there before, and they said, Gilligan Street's really nice. And then we went to go out to eat that evening and had to drive past this, and they went, well, except for this, it's just, none of you would want this in your neighborhood, and none of us want it either, and we're getting tired of feeling like I don't know what can be done, but certainly we aren't capable of doing anything, and we're appealing to you. I'm representing the neighbors. They were all supposed to be here with me, and somebody else was supposed to talk, so you got stuck with me.
It's all right.
And we've talked to Tony on several occasions. He always comes out, he always responds, for which we are all very grateful. I believe he's shown pictures maybe that we've sent, and it's a situation we would really like addressed. I don't know what you can do, but it's certainly more than what we're able to do. So I do appreciate your time and allowing me to represent my neighbors.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please go ahead.
We're very aware of that property.
Oh, good.
We've been, the police have done the best they can, but quite frankly, that property is so dangerous.
I know.
That they are very careful about it, and I understand. We're in the middle of litigation.
Oh.
Unfortunately, we had 2 court orders on the owner, and has now appealed to Commonwealth Court, I think, appellate level. So that's where we're stuck. It is in litigation.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where that's going to be. I'm not the through the solicitors updated, but that's last I knew. He appealed the judge's orders to demolish and various fines, et cetera. So we've gone through the process, but there's really nothing that we can do on site at this point.
All
Okay?
right. I do appreciate that. Should we continue to call 911?
You're going to have to, because if there are things that are occurring, homeless breaking in, if you see other criminal activity or fire, yeah, anything like that. But short term, there's not an awful lot any of us can do. But that is a prime property that we've been attempting to resolve for a year, maybe a year and a half.
Great. Good to know. Thank you all.
It's on Gilligan Street?
Yeah. When you come off Hazel and are coming down towards Spruce Street,
Okay.
it's right there by Spruce Street, right by where the little bridge crosses the creek.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Angel Mathis?
Angel Mathis, Wilkes-Barre. I have three things. I know I put down two. First, I'm going to do it a little out of order. First, I like to thank the city for the support of Active Aging Day. It was very successful, and aging is doing a lot of wonderful things. The second thing I have is at the corner of, I want to say Grove and High, where Wilkes-Barre Boulevard turns into High Street. Now that I'm relocating to my mother's house, that'll get to the last part. What I'm noticing, because I do have my driver's license back, so I'm driving now, that when you actually go through Wilkes-Barre Boulevard to turn on Grove Street from High, a lot of people do not stop. And someone is going to die, because I don't think they realize that it's only a two-way stop and not a three-way stop. So I know I'll probably have to go to traffic to make the suggestion. Is it possible that a sign can be placed that is a two-way stop and oncoming traffic does not stop? So that was my other two. Now, my third thing is, like with the woman here with the LSA, talking about affordable housing. My rent is $908. When I moved in, this is just one of the water damage pictures that the city inspectors has actually passed, that my apartment was livable. And this picture was taken approximately 14 days after, I got a bunch of them. Lisa, I'll give them all to you. 14 days after I moved in, it began to leak. And that was in February of 2021. So now we're here in August of 2024. So over the time, there's mold growing. He admitted in 2022 that he needed to put up a new roof. But in order to do that in 2023, he told me that one, which I know is not true because I'm here with you guys. So when you raise taxes, I'm aware that you raise taxes. That basically, in order for him to put a new roof on a dwelling that he's renting, that he would need to increase the rent from $908 to $1,400 because that's what he can get in this market. So needless to say, we've gone through this eviction process because the main reason I moved there is because to gain custody of my granddaughter at the time, where I needed 3 bedrooms. I lived in that apartment for 4 years, paying for 3 bedrooms and only had 2. Children and youth come in, they would have taken my granddaughter. That's not what I signed in for. But once I did make the decision to actually move, I did call the health department to come out. They came out, and instead of there being 3 walls that water continually ran down, for 4 years, for the 4 years that I've been there, we found out that every wall in my apartment is wet. When we have torrential downpours, and I mean torrential downpours with all of this rain, it smells like a cardboard box. In January of 2024, I had a standing temperature of 55.5 degrees in my apartment in January. The picture's in there. And my problem is, it's an out-of-state landlord. He has several properties here. And after we went through the eviction process and everything, he's like, hey, I want to work with you. I'm not going to fix anything in your apartment, but I want to work with you. I don't want to see you living in the streets after the one hand washes the other. After, if you call the city to come out to inspect your apartment, they will put you and your grandkids in a shelter. And then it got to the point where, you don't want to do that because it'll hurt me. And you have kids and grandkids. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, which I also have to give props to the police who came out in June. I still need to talk to Chief Coffey about some things with that. But this is only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. The property manager hasn't been in my apartment for over a year, but yet he testified to the court that, they don't give me notice, but I don't let them in.
You spoke a few minutes ago about rental inspections, but if this apartment is as bad as you say it is, and I'm not...
No, the first picture was after they inspected it, where there was significant
even though it was
water.
inspected, you can still call the rental inspectors. It is a rental property, and just because it passed when you first moved in, they still need to maintain the standards of the...
Bill, that was 14 days after I moved in, where they never fixed the water
I don't want to go back,
damage.
but you need to reach out to the rental inspectors again, unless there's some other solution, but unless I'm missing something there, but if it's a rental property, it needs to be safe for you.
No, I understand that. My question was, how could it pass with that type of damage?
That I can't answer. You can only go forward from now.
Right.
Anyone?
So the homelessness is only going to grow.
Yeah.
And as of next week, I am one of them.
Well, let's hope not.
No, I am.
If it were me, I'd be reaching out to the rental inspectors regardless. You need to...
I have.
...for your families and have to ask them to re-inspect it for you.
No, I have.
Okay, good. John Sahoski?
John Sahoski, Almond Lane. Just to go back to the LSA grants, like I get like that you guys are just a pass through, and then the mayor puts them up, and then you guys vote for them, and then the state, But I always say about this, the less give them less options. Like Pittston did with theirs, they changed their downtown with theirs. Like guys could really do the same thing. Like if you just focused on one thing, maybe. And did it. You could change a neighborhood. You could change a lot of things if our grants weren't as spread out. I think you should try it at least once and just see, get some kind of bigger project done. That factory property that the lady over here was talking about, like, it's a mess. I've seen it a bunch of times. But like, if we could get that from litigation, is it savable? Like, that's the kind of thing where you could do something with the property like that. If like none of the blight organizations or anything could help to get anything. Okay. Jess, you were talking about like the I can't think what it's called. Like the B&Bs. Like I can't think what it's called.
Airbnb.
Airbnb. Thank you. Like I've been seeing a lot that like houses are getting broken down, like single-family houses more and more are getting broken down to apartment buildings. Like, do we have any zoning or ordinances that could slow that down or stop? Because like I don't know if you guys been to like cities like New York City or New Jersey, like where you'll have smaller houses like that. Like that's a common thing in bigger areas. But I think that we should try to prevent that from happening here because, like, we're not one of those bigger cities, I don't think it'd be the best thing to have people living all on top of each other, I think that we should be promoting more of single-family houses as much as we could, and people, instead of people breaking down, a lot of single-family houses, and we have apartment buildings everywhere, and it changes parking issues, and, changes everything, you know, the whole neighborhoods with, you know, overcrowding. And, Mr. Mayor, the wall, okay, give me, how much of it are you going to be able to do? And like, how much could get done with the funds that we have right now? That's all I have. Thank you.
John, I think we discussed this once before, but we had our engineer identify the areas that are really problematic right now. And those areas are all going to be addressed, okay? And also, I don't have the diagrams in front of me. I'm happy to send it to you. 'Cause
Okay.
you should get that. But the thing is, what you see now is going to be an immediate change, okay? It's going to be safer. You're not going to have the problem of stones and parts of the wall falling down. The areas that right now are in need of repair are being repaired. We have the money to do that. As we get more grant money, we'll continue all the way down, but we identified the really structural problems on that wall. And that's close to being worked on. We had the RFPs were out, we had the engineering studies and stuff. We have money in the bank, so you're going to see a major change there. One of the walkways is in really bad shape. That's going to be eliminated because we can't fix it, but it's going to be much safer and more aesthetic once we're done. So I told you, because I think your parents live there, I get back to you. How about if I send you an idea of what's going to happen?
Okay, yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Help you?
Mm-hmm.
And then I can answer you on the multi-units. So Wilkes-Barre does have zoning, and it does go through the zoning, and that is once a month, which is, I do get the zoning agenda, because I was on the planning before. So you may want to follow that, because if it's a 3-unit and they want to make it a 5-unit, it does go through zoning. Same thing there on the zoning one coming up, there's going to be one that wants to be a rooming house. So that's also in my area.
Where's it at? Just.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chuck.
Just, John, so you know, the zoning hearing board has been very strict on that. As a matter of fact, last month, they just refused 2, if I remember. So they've been on top of that for, 4 or 5 years. Very against breaking down, adding up apartments, adding a 3rd apartment, those type of things. They've been very restrictive on it. So I think you've got a good zoning board, and they're very aware of that. That's been going on for 4 or 5 years.
If I trusted anybody about the zoning board, I know you.
Oh, I'm not on the zoning board.
I know, no, but you were the solicitor for.
I agree with him, and I've gone to a few of them, and they do ask a lot of the questions he asked about the parking, about the size, and what area it's in. So, I mean, I would recommend you follow that, and they are once a month, because I do it. I mean, there's 2 coming up in my area, and I will be here next Wednesday.
I might see you then. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a speaker registration form here that I can't make out the name.
Oh, Sam,
That is Sam?
he went to bed.
He left? Okay. Anything else from council?
He's fast asleep.
Yeah. Make a motion to dismiss?
Motion.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Holy Toledo.
Happy for putting up with that.
No time for anything.